Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost from 1999, directed by Jim Stenstrum, and of course, the second of the direct-to-video Scooby-Doo films. So yes, we are back once again, ready to discuss Scooby-Doo on the channel. This time around, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. This is quite an interesting film here, and I look forward to discussing this today. I saw this a bit as a kid as well, and it's been many years since I saw this one, and I watched it 2 days ago now, rewatched this. So look forward to discussing it today. There will be a spoiler warning for this discussion if you haven't seen this film. I simply recommend seeing it first and then come back to this video, and we can go from there. We can talk about this from the comments and all things Scooby-Doo. So yes, with all that said, let's discuss my thoughts on this film. And this is one that I didn't remember too much about. It didn't really come back to me too much, other than the final act and parts in the middle of the film. So yeah, it was quite a cool experience. It wasn't like Zombie Island, where a few weeks ago I was watching it again and I remember every single scene, every line really of the film. This is the one that I watched a bit less, but I did still see this a couple of times. But yeah, it's a very different film to Zombie Island, I think, and definitely a very different production. They were told to kind of tone down the actual film from the previous one. They were fearing that it was a bit too scary for the audience they're intending, and as well, just the actual production itself was scaled back, and it was made to be a bit more kind of simple, straightforward, less experimental. This one is a lot shorter than Zombie Island. It's only around 66 minutes, this one, and that's quite interesting. And we have a bit more of a contained plot here, and it's not quite as epic in scope as Zombie Island as well. So really interesting film here, but we do have, despite all that, and the kind of attempts to make it a bit less bold and all this kind of stuff, and less scary, and problems in the production a bit more. It's a very enjoyable film, this one, and I think, while I don't personally feel it compares to Zombie Island, I do really love Zombie Island personally. I think this is definitely a really solid film, and it's a good adventure film, and I think some really hilarious moments in this, and just the overall charming film. I do really love the location in this film as well. Oak Haven, in New England, and Ben Ravencroft kind of invites the gang, Mr. Inc, to this town, and he's this horror writer, of course, and it all kind of unfolds from there, and we learn the backstory of Sarah, of course, Ravencroft, of course, from 1657, certain events transpired, and basically he's trying to find her medical journal to actually prove her innocence, and it all kind of goes from there. We learn eventually that this was not the case, and she wasn't innocent, and Ben is basically the villain of the film, and is trying to get the book to actually resurrect her and bring her back, of course, and so she can come back through this, and basically it unfolds from there. We have the gang kind of investigating at night, and we've got this kind of subplot at the same time as well. The mayor and everyone kind of trying to pull this stunt, make out as if things are haunted. It is obviously trying to get more publicity, of course, for the town to kind of boost the tourism and stuff, and at the same time we have the Hex Girls, this kind of band, and they're kind of rehearsing for a performance. I really like the way in which a lot of people are suspects in this film. We've got many different potential suspects, culprits of this, and we think at first potentially there's the mayor and everyone, those that are putting that stunt, that are the main villains of the film, and it's kind of all there to throw us off really from the actual villain being Ben Ravencroft, and this horror writer, and he was mysterious at first. I didn't really remember the kind of twist here, but I think it was very well done, and the way that the Hex Girls as well were suspected by some of the characters in the film, the gang at first, and actually they are just innocent, and they would just turn out to be a bit kind of moody and this kind of stuff, but they were thinking at first they were involved in this, and they were actually witches, and that's not the case, and it was actually Ben all along, and he kind of reveals this at one point, the final act, or at least near to that, and we learn that Sarah was not this innocent witch, and this Wiccan, she was actually a kind of evil witch, and it kind of the final act is quite explosive, and we have a lot of great visual moments, loads of creative stuff there, kind of pumpkins and all this with the witch kind of bringing this all to life, and the tree kind of possessing the tree, and it's just some great moments here. I loved parts of the final act, and as well I loved some of the setup to this film. Just a very gradual flow the film has, and unravelling of events, and it's a very different film, as I say, to Zombie Island. It's not as epic in scope, and it's much more focused on the kind of one location as well, as opposed to the whole entire area of the town really. And we have obviously the moments when Scooby and Shaggy are kind of going through the streets and at night, and that was one of my favourite moments. Also, the funniest moment for me is just when the two of them are kind of in the restaurant there, and they're eating all the food, and they just keep coming back for more, of course, and they're getting massive, and they go outside afterwards, and just massive, of course. Scooby, is huge after eating all the food, and it's just really funny moment, a classic kind of Scooby and Shaggy moment, and we have Scott Irons, voicing both Scooby and Shaggy in this film. Frank Welker's Fred as well, is great in this film, and we have Mary Kay Bergman voicing Daphne and the Witch's Ghost as well in this film. And this was a final film that was released during her lifetime for voice acting, so that's really sad. But yeah, we have some great voice acting in this film. Tim Curry as well, it's just stand out. Obviously, is Ben Ravencroft, and I think Ben Ravencroft is a really good character in this, and he kind of elevate the film. It's quite complex, and I guess just the way in which he was introduced was quite mysterious, and it was well done. And just a very different film. As I say, to Zombie Island, we've not got as much build up as well, and the kind of the epic scope of it. But we do have a really nice contained plot here, and just some charming moments throughout. And the animation, once again, I do love, and just a real nice look to the film. The autumnal feel, as I've said, is so well done in this, and just the actual location, of Oak Haven in this, and the backstory. We get the exposition, obviously, the way that's done through the flashbacks, and the way that we learn more throughout the film. It's not, entirely complex like Zombie Island, but I think it's nicely done. It's very simple to the point. Not too much backstory. Some of the characters as well, in this are a bit basic, you could say, and just certain elements of the plot, and the way it's done it's fairly simple to the point at times where there isn't, loads of layers to some of the subplots, some of the characters, but I think it is well done for the most part throughout, and I think the final act is more explosive, the action, the kind of all out, kind of chaos, but it's very well directed and very well controlled. It's very short, obviously the shortest of the first kind of 4 direct-to-video Scooby-Doo films, and it definitely is that. It's kind of more of a basic, to the point film, and they were cutting back, of course, and kind of trying to keep it a bit less experimental and less kind of scary and all this. It is definitely still scary. We've got really creepy moments, and the Witch's Ghost, the design of this, and I think the voice acting and the way it's done visually, and all this kind of stuff, and the way it's built up throughout the film. This is really well done, and the way we have at first the kind of pranks, the kind of for the publicity stunt, of course, of different characters. We see the Witch's Ghost, and then we actually see her for real in the final act, and I thought that was really well done, and it's just some really cool reveals in this. Just overall, really charming film here. I loved at times the interactions as well between Velma and Scooby and Shaggy, and B.J. Ward once again, voice acting Velma in this film, and I think Velma's definitely one of my favourite characters, in Scooby-Doo. Behind Scooby and Shaggy, probably, it would be Velma, and I just really liked some of the interactions, and just messing around kind of thing, them banging into each other at night and all this, and just the kind of slapstick in that sense to the film. There's just all the accidents that happen with Scooby and Shaggy. Once again, classic stuff with them, and just really enjoyed, as I say, different moments when they're eating, of course, in the restaurant, and they get all, they eat too much and the kind of stuff, and they're all, kind of massive afterwards, and just a really funny moment, sequence there that's well done, and just a nice, pleasant film. Some real just relaxing moments at first, and it was going around the house as well, with Ben Ravencroft. Just Ben showing the painting, of course, of Sarah, and all this kind of stuff, and just really nice the way it's done, and the way that Ben, in the end, is the villain of the film was a really good reveal. One thing that was really dark, though, was the way in which Ben, he kind of got dragged back, into the book, of course, and then, all the flames and everything goes on the book, and it destroys this, and he's kind of trapped, obviously, there forever, so it's quite a dark kind of outcome for him, and despite that, the film, it's definitely, it's got some creepy moments and scary moments for sure, but it's more lighter in tone than Zombie Island, but this moment is definitely quite a dark, and kind of disturbing moment for sure, but really enjoyed this film. I think it's a good, solid film. The music that's used in this one as well, it's really good, and just the Hex Girls, the way that they're incorporated into the kind of plot of the film, and I really enjoyed them throughout the film, and the songs, of course, the iconic songs in this one that they perform, and just the way in which at the end we've got Mr. Ink and everyone kind of dancing around and joining in with this performance, and that's the kind of ending of the film. So it's a nice ending, nice outcome there. I just thought the animation was really well done, and once again, the music to this, and just the characters, the interactions, really charming film again, warm, and the outcome where they're all kind of dancing, performing, for the town to kind of raise money to repair the actual village here, the town, is really cool, and I think that was just a really nice outcome of the way it linked together in this film. Obviously, Ben out of the picture at that point. But yeah, just kind of in the end, it's a feel-good outcome, and with the Hex Girls and everyone kind of all involved there. So it's a well-done film, very short film for the Scooby-Doo direct-to-video films compared to the first few. This is definitely shortest, and it does, it makes sense. It feels that, it's not as much of a kind of epic in scope plot, and it's not as much of an adventure feel, kind of a journey the characters go on compared to some of the other films here. But I do think it's a unique one. It stands out, and it's very well done, very well written in this film at times. And I think some of the characters, like Ben Ravencroft especially, will stand out, and just the interactions between Scooby and Shaggy and Velma especially in this film, really enjoyed. And yeah, some funny moments and some dark moments as well. Scary, spooky moments. So really cool film, and yeah, I did enjoy this one quite a bit. So for my rating for this film is a 72%. So definitely a high score from me, and one that I did really enjoy seeing it again. And it's just a nice, charming film. Some spooky moments, I think, and some funny moments, and a nice outcome as well. The final act is definitely one of the highlights of the film, and also just at first the introduction to the town here, and the different characters, and just the relationships at times. I would say this is a bit basic here and there. Some of the characters, well, it's nicely tied together in the end, and they all kind of, in a sense, have a part to play in the film. I think individually, some of the characters are a bit basic, and could have been better for sure. And it's not, an entirely complex and layered film. In different elements, in different ways. But I think it's nicely done, and very short, this one, and to the point. And yeah, it's definitely just a pleasant film to watch. It's not a great film for me. I think as well. It does, if I was asked, kind of in comparison, it does pale to, Zombie Island for me personally, but it's definitely a fun film, and one that I really enjoyed seeing again. And yeah, it's just a nice, kind of breezy film at times, nice locations, very nostalgic, and really cool animation here, and voice acting, Tim Curry being a highlight of this film. And yeah, it's just really cool moments in this, and Scooby and Shaggy once again. Just classic in this, and Velma as well. Interactions with her, at times really well done, and yeah, it's definitely just a nice feel-good film, and it's got some spooky moments, scary moments, and definitely creative, elements of the script, and also just visually, in that final act, especially some really creative moments. Definitely some uneventful parts of the film, if I was, kind of thinking on that. But overall, it's definitely a film that has a nice flow, and there's. Act 1, 2, and 3, I really enjoyed. It's just this at times, it's a bit basic, as I've said, lacking complexity and layers to this one, and just it's not a great film, but it's definitely a really solid one, and one that I did enjoy seeing again. And it's just a nice, charming Scooby-Doo film. So that's my thoughts on the film. What do you think? It'd be really great to hear in the comments your experience with this film. How's it compare for you to different Scooby-Doo films, the franchise, and what's your memories with this, and just what's your personal take, your thoughts, your experience with this film. It'd be really great to hear. Next up will be the Alien Invaders, so look forward to that. But today, let's discuss this film and all things Scooby-Doo in the comments. So yes, as always, take care, and thanks for watching.